In many card tricks, it's common for the magician to ask the spectator to pick a card out of the deck. And a lot of the times this is done physically, where they actually remove the card from the deck, and therefore the magician is most likely able to control and locate the card very easily afterwards. However, what is a lot more rare in card magic is to have someone just think of any playing card in a deck and just keep it in their mind. They don't even have to say anything out loud, and they will never actually physically touch or remove the card from the deck. This makes the effect a lot more impossible, and this is what I would like to showcase today. So imagine that this is a completely borrowed and shuffled deck of cards that the spectator can completely mix up as much as they wish. And once the cards are shuffled and cut, the magician is simply going to spread the cards on the table so that you can see every single one of these cards. Because normally, when you ask someone to think of a card, they might have a few cards that are more easily, thought of, like the Ace of Spades or the Queen of Hearts, but a lot of people actually forget how many different options they actually have. So I will turn away. I don't want to even see where you're looking, but I would, invite the spectator to look down anywhere in the deck and to think of truly any card. It doesn't matter. So once they're thinking of a card, they will not say it out loud. They will only have it existing in their mind. And now we can square up the cards. Obviously, there's no way for me to know what card you're thinking of, but there's also currently no way for everyone else watching to know what card you're thinking of, because it only exists inside of your mind. So I would like you to tell the other people what card you're thinking of, but I don't want you to do it verbally, because I don't want you to think that I might be listening to what you're saying. So I'm going to have you do this in a code. So I'm going to have you take the cards, and you're going to be coding your thought of card to the audience. So basically, pick up the deck and I will explain exactly what I want you to do, and I will turn around. So you have to imagine now in this part of the performance that the spectator is handling the cards and the magician is completely turned around, okay? So you just have to imagine this. I would tell the spectator, whichever card you're thinking of, if it is a club, I want you to take one card from the top, deal it down on the table, place the rest of the deck on top. If you're thinking of a heart, I want you to deal 2 cards down and then place the rest of the deck on top. If you're thinking of a spade, I want you to deal 3 cards down, place the rest of the deck on top. And if you're thinking of a diamond, I want you to deal 4 cards down, place the rest of the deck on top. And this will basically code whichever suit you're thinking of to the audience. So the spectator will go ahead and do this themselves. Perfect. And then make sure they square up the cards as well. Keep in mind, magician is still turned around. So now you've coded the suit, but they still don't know the value of the card. So the value is much more simple. If you're thinking of a 3, deal 3 cards. If you're thinking of a 7, deal 7 cards. So whichever card you're thinking of, whichever value it is, deal that amount. And remember, Jack is 11, Queen is 12, and King is 13, okay? So everyone just pay attention and count to how many cards they deal. So the spectator will go ahead and do this themselves. And when they're done, they'll take the rest of the cards and place them on top. And now imagine I was turned around for the entire time. So I genuinely would not have heard or seen any of this happening. But I can now turn back around, and I can confidently state that there is absolutely no way that I could know what your card is, even looking through these cards that were completely shuffled by you in the beginning. So that is why I'm now going to try this just between you and me right now. So I want you to think of your card the best you can. First, I will try to get the color of the card. Think of it as hard as you can. Repeat it in your mind over and over. It wasn't a red card, was it? No, yes, it was black. I was definitely picking up on that. And now think of the suit. Okay, interesting. And the value. I'm gonna list all the values from ace to king. Ace, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, Jack, Queen, King. Interesting. Okay, I did immediately just pick up on something. I feel like it was maybe closer to the middle. Okay, you know what? I think I'm actually gonna lock it in here. I'm gonna go with this card that I'm just going to leave sticking out right here in the middle of the deck, this card. For the first time, I'm committed. For the first time, I would like you to name the card that you simply thought of. And you never said this out loud, remember. They tell me it was the 5 of spades. And the card I left in the middle of the deck is none other than the 5 of spades.
The mind is led on, step by step, to defeat its own logic.
Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In today's trick, we are going to be learning this version of think of any card. The method for this trick is surprisingly very, very simple, and I think you'll be very happy to hear that because this trick really does look and feel extremely fair. And the best part is this is a completely impromptu trick that can be done with anybody's borrowed and shuffled deck of cards. The only requirement for this trick is that you will need to perform this for a group of people. You're not really going to be able to do this trick one-on-one, and I will explain why that is in just a little bit. So first, you're going to let the spectator shuffle the cards, and then you're going to spread the cards on the table face up so that the spectator can have a chance to think of any card. And what I like to say is that, usually if I have someone just think of a card off the top of their head, they might have a few cards that they automatically go to, like the Ace of Spades or the Queen of Hearts, and a lot of people forget how many different options they actually have. So that is the reason why I'm showing you all of these cards. But the real reason why you're actually showing them all these cards is so that you can get a peek at whichever card is on top of the deck. And this is going to be your key card for the entire trick. So all you have to do is very quickly look at the top card, and now you can turn away and let the spectator look down and think of truly any card in the deck. They could even think of the top card if they wanted, but let's say the spectator is going to think of the 4 of hearts in this case, completely random choice. So now you tell them to square up the cards and to place the cards face down on the table. So the reason you can't do this trick one-on-one is for this next part of the trick, because doing this part one-on-one doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, and it would be very obvious that something is going on. But if you have a group of people watching, you can use that to justify this next part of the trick, because what you're going to need to do is have the spectator deal the cards down and rearrange the order of the cards, and this will basically give you the information as to what the card is, but there's no real reason to do that if you're in a one-on-one scenario. So I like to tell the people watching that now the spectator has just chosen a card, but none of you know what the card is, and I wouldn't just want to have this spectator whisper it to all of you because maybe there's a chance I could hear it or someone will say something, and I don't want anyone to say anything verbally. So I'm going to have the spectator code all of you what the card is by doing this special little process here. So now you're going to turn away and you're going to invite the spectator to code the suit first. So you're going to tell them, for a club, deal 1 card on the table, place the deck on top. For a heart, deal 2 cards on the table, place the deck on top. For a spade, deal 3 cards on the table, place the deck on top. And for a diamond, deal 4 cards on the table, place the deck on top. All this is going to be doing is it's going to be moving your key card to the bottom of the deck. So it truly doesn't matter what suit they think of. In this case, they were thinking of the 4 of hearts, so I will deal 2 cards for a heart and then place the deck on top. But keep in mind, Magician is completely turned around, and they can do this as silently as they want. You're not listening to anything, because now your key card is on the bottom of the deck. For the next part, you're going to ask them to deal the value, and whichever the value is, like if it was a 3, deal 3 cards, put the deck on top. If it was a 7, deal 7 cards, put the deck on top. Jack, Queen, and King is 11, 12, and 13, and an Ace is 1. So they're going to go ahead and do this. So the 4 of hearts, so they'll deal 1, 2, 3, 4, and place the deck on top. So you tell the spectator that obviously there's no way I could know what card you're thinking of, but now I'm going to try to tap into your brain and figure out the card in pieces. So first I'll start with the color of the card. And this is a very simple fishing technique where I will say, it wasn't a red card, was it? And they will have a reaction. They'll say yes or no. If they say yes, then you know it was a red card. And if they say no, then you say, yeah, no, I was picking up on black. I definitely was feeling that. You're confirming it with a negative statement. It wasn't a red card, was it? So either outcome sounds totally natural. And that's all you really need to know is the color of the card. You don't need to know the specific suit. Before you pick up the deck, you're going to tell them to think of the value, and you're going to go ace, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, jack, queen, king. And you're going to say, you know, interesting. I was definitely feeling that it was somewhere in the lower half. And this is what I do. I'm going to spread through these cards, and I'm just going to spread like about 10 or so cards. And I'm going to look at where my key card is in the deck. And I can see that my key card is definitely in the lower half of the deck right over here. So I don't even have to count exactly. I'm just going to very casually see this, and I already know that their card is one of the lower ones. So this is a very quick and easy statement to make. When I pick up the cards, I'll say, you know what? Just from that, I can already tell your card is definitely in the lower half. And now I can just pretend like I'm looking through the cards and say, think of it for me. And now I can go one by one as I go back through the cards, and I can actually count how many cards are above the key card. So now I know that their card is a 4 because there are 4 cards above the 3 of diamonds. And I also know that the card was red. So that's all I know is they chose a red 4. So what I'm going to do is this. The first red 4 that I see, I'm going to out jog it in the deck like this. And then the second red 4 that I see, I'm going to cut it to the top of the deck. So now I have my multiple outs ready to go. I have one 4 on top of the deck, and I have the other 4 out jogged in the middle. But remember, all of this is hidden from the spectator. And now I will say, I'm committed. I have one card right here in the middle of the deck. For the first time, you can tell me what the card was. So in this case, they will name the 4 of hearts, which I know is the one that I left on top of the deck. So there are 2 things I can do here. The first and easy method is to take the card out and do a double lift showing the card. That's one way you could do it. The way that I would recommend that I think looks a little bit more natural is to do this little switch that I really love doing, is you pretend to actually remove the card, but you're actually removing that top card of the deck. You're gonna take your fingers and push this card in the middle of the deck as your thumb actually slides in the back here and pulls out the top card of the deck. And it looks like this is the card in the middle of the deck if you do it in one smooth action. You can also do a top change. You can pull the card out and say, really, you could have thought of any card that you wanted, but the 4 of hearts is the one I left right here. There's many different ways to switch out this card, but of course, that's only if you need to do that. And the best possible outcome is the one that you saw in the performance, where the card that you outjogged is actually the correct card. So if you know that they chose the 4 of diamonds and they tell you 4 of diamonds, all you have to do is flip your wrist over very cleanly, and now you can show that this is the card that they thought of, and it just looks incredibly awesome and completely impossible. But yeah, both outcomes look extremely natural, extremely fair. In this case, they chose the 4 of hearts, and that would be the end of the trick. I can spread the cards out. That is how to do this think of a card type of trick. I really hope you guys enjoyed this one. As you can see, the method of using a key card is very, very simple, but extremely powerful in the right scenario. It's one of my all-time favorite methods for many different card tricks, and you can definitely see why in this trick, because it's so incredibly powerful here. But yeah, that's it, guys. I really hope you guys enjoyed this one. Let me know how it goes if you perform it. I would love to know how the reactions go. And yeah, see you guys for the next video. Bye.